Today on the Anime Zone, a review of Steins, an anime tackling the complex and mind-bending issue of time travel, but more importantly, it answers the age-old question that has been plaguing scientists for centuries now. What does happen if you text a phone that's attached to a microwave?
What the fuck?!
It's a rare occurrence that I delve into the world of anime watchers following anime that's currently airing, because for one, the chances of finding a good anime out of the dozens of anime coming out every season is approximately the same chance as betting all your money on a number of a roulette wheel the size of the London Eye. And for two, if you do have an amazing find, then you're suddenly stuck with a piddly 20 minutes of entertainment every week, while every other waking hour is spent twiddling your thumbs like an idiot, counting down the seconds to the time when you'll get your next weekly 20-minute anime boner. So the majority of the time, I wait until an anime has finished airing or has been licensed and dubbed. The odd time when I do pop my head up and watch an anime fresh off the market is when the anime community explodes from collectively tossing off to the same show. So to challenge the hype surrounding this series, I am reviewing Steins. Steins is a nearly 2011 anime based on a visual novel of the same name, and follows the adventures of self-proclaimed mad scientist Okabe Rintaro and his group of friends, as they somehow build a time machine that's able to send text messages to the past. As the team start abusing the machine like a crack addict who's been given free drugs, Okabe soon realizes the repercussions of screwing around with time, which throws him into a world full of conspiracies, murders, and maid cafes, where he must use his knowledge of time travel to fix the chaos he's caused from a very dark future that no one could have predicted. Now, with my opinion of the current anime climate being that it's mostly slice of life or moe or both or crap, Steins was a breath of fresh air and was miles above any other recent series I've seen in terms of plot. The story had more twists and turns I've seen in any show since Code Geass, with these plot twists mostly coming from a lack of understanding when it comes to time travel, allowing the author to effectively theorize his own science in the understanding of the quantum mechanics inherent behind the paradoxical results of jumping through time. AKA, he can make shit up. Or, as the Doctor would say,
people assume that time is a strict progression of cause to effect, but actually, from a non-linear, non-subjective viewpoint, it's more like a big ball of wibbly-wobbly, timey-wimey stuff.
Silence.
But if you can get past that and just accept the illogical science for what it is, then you're in for a treat, because this show is the best I've seen a time travel concept done in anime, while also being surprisingly fun at times. Most of the fun comes from our main character Okabe Rintaro, or as he likes to be known,
Choma!
And yes, that name does need to be shouted out like you're a cock. He is a scientist who somehow fucked around with a microwave so much that they actually cause a rip in the space-time continuum. He calls himself a mad scientist because apparently all you need to do to be classified as a mad scientist is wear a white lab coat, shout everything out in the loudest obnoxious manner you can possibly think of, and laugh like a retard. But don't take my word for it, I'm sure he can give a better introduction of himself than I ever could.
I am mad scientist. It's so cool. Son of a bitch.
Silence.
To be honest, he's the only character that really matters because he's the only one that actually changes during the course of the show thanks to the time travel plot developments. And because of this, the rest of the characters can be pretty much summed up in one sentence. There's Kurisu, the red-haired teenage genius who's definitely not a whatever. Mayuri, the cute girl who starts off every sentence like a broken tape recorder. The fat otaku who's basically Todd from Scrubs shouting out sexual innuendos at every turn. A person who's deadly obsessed with fuck buddies or Facebook or whatever the fuck FB stands for. And a girl who says nyan a lot. No, seriously. Her name is Fairis Nyan Nyan. She ends every sentence with the word nyan and she works in a place called May Queen Nyan Nyan. That's right, she's a fucking... Unsurprisingly, she was bloody annoying. Oh, and there's also a girl who works in a TV store and a very cute and innocent girl who is, you know what? Never mind.
It's a trap!
Anyway, as I mentioned earlier, the biggest strength of this show is the plot. While time travel is nothing new in the sci-fi genre, the show does its best to give its own original take on everything, providing a plot that keeps you engaged, surprised, and even emotionally involved at some points. Though, having said all that, the series can be very light-hearted and funny at the same time. In fact, the first half of this series feels more like a slice-of-life comedy with a time travel twist to it, which isn't necessarily a bad thing since just watching the banter between the various cast members can be quite fun and entertaining. But the show really shines in the second half when it quickly shifts into a more serious tone, when it becomes apparent for
Choma!
what the consequences for messing with time are. As far as the animation goes, it's nothing spectacular most of the time, but smooths out in the moments when it really needs to for great effect. And as for the music, it always sets the mood perfectly, even when I think back, nothing really stands out. Another big thing I have to give the show credit for is how well researched it is. Okay, a show about time travel will inevitably have some made up bullshit in it, but it tries its best to present a very original way of time travel, while also having references to events that actually happened in the real world, such as that whole CERN black hole fiasco and John Titor. But despite the majority of the series keeping me on the edge of my seat, there were some things that bugged me about the show. Firstly, the start of the series was just so incredibly slow, since while I was very much interested in the whole time travel concept and the possible effects of messing with it, the characters themselves seemed to be more interested in researching the newest and most cutting edge methods of dicking around. Literally all I remember from these episodes were a banana, a microwave, a banana, an angry redhead, a green banana, a perverted fat mad, more bananas, a mad scientist spouting out bullshit, and absolutely fuck all happening. And bananas. And this sound. The anime only really starts to get interesting when they complete the first time machine about 6 episodes in, and even then the real meat of the story comes after episode 12, so it does take some time before the story properly gets going. Secondly, during the latter third of the series, it is made painfully obvious that this was based on a visual novel, just from the fact there are suddenly a couple of episodes where all 6 girls, 5.5, were basically queuing up to have their own one-on-one private time with the main character. And for a brief period, the show went from this heart-pounding, edge-of-your-seat time travel thriller to the fucking dating show starring
Holy Choma!
Son of a bitch!
Needless to say, it felt tacked on and very out of place with all the events that were happening around them, which made me wonder if this was just based on a simple Japanese visual novel, or a simple Japanese visual novel.
Hentai games.
And the fact is, the characters were the weakest part of Steins Gate, since I already really liked
Holy Choma!
and Kurisu. Frankly, the chemistry between these two just overshadowed any other character interaction in the series, and most of the characters themselves were actually quite the stereotypical anime archetypes, excluding the main character. Oh, and I know that now some of you are going to call me a heartless bastard for not caring about my Yuri, and all I have to say to you is... Overall, Steins Gate wasn't the absolute greatest anime in the world, but in comparison to the recent run of animes coming out in the past few years, it's definitely up there as one of the best. It portrays a very original method of time travel and has a very well written plot with the most twists and turns I've seen in years, though it's just unfortunate that it is let down by a very slow start and the lack of an original and developed cast. Does it live up to the hype as the best new anime ever? No, but I still enjoyed the heck out of it, and hell, I'd rather the anime community be hyped about a flawed series with a great plot, rather than a pretentious show with a whiny ass git, an overrated show about an annoying ass git, or even worse, motherfucking tea.